Hi, everybody. I'm Courtney from Schneider's Driver Recruiting here today with April. It's been a little while since the two of us have been in the same video together.
Yeah,
But
for
we are,
sure.
I know it's a good time, but hopefully someday soon it will be together again. But for now, we're going to chat a little bit about a big topic that's been coming up quite a bit for all of you that are new or looking to get your CDL. We're going to talk to you a little bit today about how to get that CDL. So there are so many different ways, whether it be on your own or through a program here within Schneider. So we're going to kind of dive on into those questions. We'll take your questions as well too. So if you want to type those in the comments below, we'll do our best to answer any in which all we can. If we can't get to you, we will get to you after we're live. So make sure that you ask those questions. But in the meantime, I'll kind of dive on in April if you want to tackle the first way to go about getting that CDL.
Yeah, definitely. And, I think first of all, this video is great timing because, of course, the pandemic's still going on, but we're kind of seeing the light at the end of the tunnel. Things are getting better. People are getting back out there. And the biggest thing is, some people definitely lost their jobs due to the pandemic, and getting a Class A CDL is a really great way to start a new career, out on a new fresh leaf, if you will. And
Right.
starting over. And this is certainly a industry in general right now that is looking for drivers. We here at Schneider are the industry as a whole. We need drivers to move that freight. So, if you're contemplating doing something different, this is really a great industry to get into because the need is definitely there. So the question that we get asked all the time is, okay, I don't have that Class A yet. How do I go about it? So there are several different ways to do that. First of all, what I want to talk about is, first of all, if you're in school right now or you have a school picked out or, kind of thinking about it, we have our traditional tuition reimbursement. So if you're going to school or you're, signed up to go or even thinking about it, what you do is you would pay for school on your own. If that's out of pocket, if that's with a loan. And then what happens is once you do an interview with us, you get pre-qualified, you're ready to come aboard here at Schneider, you would just let your recruiter know, hey, I want to sign up for tuition reimbursement with you guys. How do I do that? So what your recruiter is going to tell you is you need to send in documentation to your recruiter via email. And the two big things that we need is, first of all, the name of your school on documentation with your name and your information, and also showing how much truck driving school was. So we're just going to say, for example, nice easy number, $5,000 for truck driving school. Then we know how much that was. The other piece of the puzzle that we need is then that invoice showing that school has been paid for. So if it's multiple times that you wrote out checks, grand here, grand there, we would need all of the invoices. Or if it was one time paid in full, we need invoice documentation. What the recruiter does is once it's received, we send that off to the necessary parties here at Schneider. And then 30 days after your date of hire, you will start to get reimbursed back for that tuition. So it is $200 a month directly back to you if you paid out of pocket. If you went with a loan, depending on the loan, we can sometimes give it right back to the loan agency. Or other times, we would just give it to you and you continue to be responsible for working with your loan agency. So two different options there. If you are hiring to a Teams position, instead of the $200, it is actually $400 a month directly back to you. And the most that we would pay back for is $7,000. So sadly, if school was more than $7,000, the most we will pay back is that $7,000.
Right.
Anything that I missed on that one, Courtney? Anything?
No, you hit the nail on the head. And the best part is it's truly open and available to, you don't have any restrictions as to a type of account you can come on board with. If you've graduated from that school within 12 months, then it's eligible for you. If it's outside that 12 months, unfortunately, it doesn't, have that as well. But we do have that additional, type of tuition reimbursement to go to you. But you hit the nail on the head. That was fantastic. So good. Yeah, then that's the most common one that we see is that traditional tuition reimbursement. So great question.
We have a call out on that as well too, Court. One of the things from drivers that are hired on that may be watching this, a lot of questions on when do I see that payout? It is the third Friday of every month that you will see that payout on your check. Because I know sometimes people are, well, I didn't see it yet. So that might be why. So just, call out there as well, because it is a common question.
Right. Good one. We have, speaking of questions, we have quite a few coming in already. I'll start first with my lights turned off again. I'm in a conference room, and if I don't move, my lights go on.
We are live, you guys. So this is how it is.
You might see me hop up every now and then to do this. But all right. So first question, Manny asks, I've had a CDL. I have my CDL already and 9 months of experience. But can I get a refresher course? I'm from South Texas. So Manny, unfortunately, we don't have any refresher courses. However, with 9 months of tractor trailer experience, if you've had that within the last 10 years, we do consider you to be an experienced driver already. So you would go to our experience training and orientation. And within that orientation, if you feel as though you need a little bit of help or refreshing on backing maneuvering skills or 90-degree turn, whatever it might be, our trainers can definitely get that for you. If it's anything that is, you feel as though you need a little additional help with, our trainers can get you, that additional training if we feel as though you may need it. A lot of times those that have at least 9 months or, in your case, have 9 months or more, usually it's just kind of getting back on the horse or riding the bike again, right? So we definitely take the time to go through additional items with you. But if you feel like you need a couple extra days or whatever it might be, we can get that for you. Absolutely great question. April, I'll let you take the next one here from Caesar as well.
Yeah, so it says, Caesar asked, how come Schneider won't train me just because I live in Miami? I need my Class A CDL license, but have a CDL permit. So first of all, Caesar, thank you so much for putting this question out there that Courtney and I can help, bring some clarification to this for you. So first of all, we don't have an orientation located in Miami, so I don't know what exactly, the question means with won't train you. Definitely will train you at orientation. We just don't have orientation location in Florida. So that's the first part of it. But Courtney, do you want to go off a little bit more like how those programs part of it?
Right. I assume the question is asking you, hey, I have my permit. I just need to get my Class A license. So how can I go about doing that? Caesar, I would definitely go on to SchneiderJobs.com right now. Within, quite frankly, the past couple of weeks, we have had a tremendous growth in our CDL programs through Schneider that can help you actually obtain your Class A CDL. So I would go on there to check to see if there are any of those programs available to you to help you get your Class A. And then once you have it, then we train you at a location that we have an operating center at. So now that we bring it up, I do want to dive on into some of those programs because, like I said, they have truly vamped up within the last couple of weeks. The first one is and you'll see it again on the Schneider Jobs page on the left-hand side, we have certain filters, or you might see it in some of the jobs listed out of your area. Underneath, they'll have a little checkbox that shows whether or not, Schneider offers some sort of company-sponsored training. First one is our CDL apprenticeship program, where you might hear your recruiter or recruiting specialist refer to it as CAT program. So CDL apprenticeship training. Basically, what this program is we have a couple of locations throughout the country that will help you not only kind of attend a truck driving school, but go to an orientation all at the same time. So it's really neat. A lot of times you go to a truck driving school for, 4 weeks plus, and then attend an orientation. This is like basically those two programs rolled into one. It's a 5-week course, and you are hired on officially as a Schneider employee on day one. So you're essentially getting paid to get your license, which is really neat. You do need your permit. So Caesar, you already have that, qualification already. And there are limited positions and or spots that we're looking to fill through that program. So there might be, not as many jobs for that program out of your area as what you might be looking for. And it does have, limited spots each week. So I would definitely, if you already have your permit, check that out on Schneider Jobs, because that's definitely a great opportunity to check out. It's 5 weeks in and out. You get your Class A and go through training all at one time. After the 5 weeks, that's it. You don't have any additional over-the-road time with the trainer. You already did it during your 5 weeks. And once you're done, you're done. You're ready to go out and on your own. So very accelerated, very quickly. But if you're really looking to get that program and get paid to get your CDL, great one to check out. Absolutely.
And definitely to chime in a little bit off of that as well, Courtney, is that, to kind of put it in perspective, if you come into Schneider with your Class A license in hand, you're going to your brand new driver, 3 months or less, you're going to orientation for 3 weeks, which yes, that is paid as well. But, in 2 more weeks to have everything rolled in one for all those folks out there that don't yet have the Class A license, it just kind of shows, how accelerated in a good way that in 5 weeks, hey, I can have Class A license in hand, which is a huge deal. Because like Courtney had said, some schools, even if you would go part-time, it can be a very long process, before you have that Class A license. And to toot our own horn a little bit here, we are known across the industry for our training. So even though it is 5 weeks, some people might think, man, that's too quick. We definitely have worked on this program for a long time now, and you're going to get fantastic training because that's what we pride ourselves on. Safety first and always. So, definitely something we're very, very proud about. But just had to throw that out there as well. And if you are from a different area and you're going, if we have to send you somewhere for that CAP program, your lodging is included. Most of your meals are included. So it is as financially painless as possible because you are getting a paycheck for being there. Plus we are helping out with those other, living expenses, if you will, while you're there.
Right. Travel to get to the program is included as well. So anything that somebody might get going to just our regular training orientation, you're going into this apprenticeship program as well too. So
right.
But the first main hurdle is getting the permit. So if you already have that, it's potentially something that can be, and then I do have to say too, it's not necessarily available in every single location throughout the country. It does have to be available to that in your area. So just make sure in SchneiderJobs.com, you type in that zip code. And if it does pop up there as well, that it's available to you. So great questions. Just a quick reminder that we are live talking about different ways to get your CDL. Ask questions in the comments if you have them. We talked a little bit already about tuition reimbursement, also our apprenticeship program as well too. If you while we're on board the train of company programs, I'll kind of chat over and go over to you, April, with our company sponsored CDL training and how does that differ from the apprenticeship program?
Definitely. So way back when, we used to call it contract training. So for some of you that, had previously talked to us, it can get a little bit confusing, but contract training is now company sponsored. So the main reason why we changed the name is we are sponsoring you to go to a truck driving school that Schneider closely works with. We help you with, the enrollment and everything like that. The big thing with this one, it is lights going off.
I went off again. There you go. Keep talking.
The big thing with the company sponsored program is that you would once again have to have, for most schools, that Class 8 permit, right, Courtney? There are a few that may not require the permit for that one.
A few of them do, and a few of them don't. So don't be discouraged if you don't have the permit. We can definitely help you or find a school that would help you get that permit.
Yep. And then as far as that, then it is a agreement that you do have to sign that you will be with the company for a allotted amount of time. We pay for the truck driving school. So you are not paying out of pocket for that school. However, we are not paying you, like a paycheck besides. We're paying for the schooling. So that's the major difference with that one. Anything else to chime off of with the company sponsored, Courtney?
Yeah, just basically you do have to be comfortable with going a period of time without a paycheck. So while you're in truck driving school, the school that we work with and send you to, you're not physically being paid while you're in that school. So then once you are done and complete and you go to our training, that's when you start receiving the paycheck. So it can be 6 to 8 weeks without a paycheck. So you do have to be comfortable with that as well. Good news is we are adding more schools to this program consistently. So I had a gentleman who just went through a program, or this company sponsored program, was been trying to get in on his own for many, many months and has been having no luck. And we got him in literally the following Monday. So he was super excited, was able to get in, get out really quick. and is set up for our Schneider training and orientation this coming Monday. So it can be a very quick turnaround. We just have to kind of match you up with that particular school. It could, if you do or do not have a permit, it could require you to travel out of state potentially for some of the schools that do offer the lodging, because not everyone does. And we got to make sure that if you live far away, we got to get you a place to stay. So if you don't have that, available to you, we'll have to find you a school that will get you that lodging, so that could mean potentially traveling a little ways away. So another option that we do have as well. So very different from, truck driving school first, so we pay for it, and then orientation, whereas the apprenticeship program is both of those combined into one. So either way, Schneider's essentially helping you get your Class A CDL through both of those programs. So.
And a call out with that as well, real quick.
Go for it.
I get a little bit more clarification with that company sponsored program. Say your schooling is like 4 to 8 weeks, 4 to 6 weeks, depending on the school program. It is all automatic transmission. So for some drivers, they may really still want to not have that auto only restriction, that they can drive either or. With this program and with the apprenticeship program as well, it is automatic transmission. But with the company sponsored program, after you go through that truck driving school, then you do go to our 3-week orientation as well. So you are having that proper onboarding with us here at Schneider, how we want the driver to drive the Schneider way. And then you go into the actual position. So that's kind of the 3-step process, if you will, to actually start driving here at Schneider for that company sponsored program. The other thing that came to mind too, we've been talking about permits. Depending on your state, you may have to get a DOT physical as well for that permit to become valid. So definitely check with your DMV on if it is a requirement or not. Every state's kind of different with that. So definitely make sure you're asking that question as well.
Right. And piggybacking off that comment too. So we may have to, if you're going through this company sponsored training, you may have to travel out of state to, go to that particular school. We will and have to get you that permit out of the state in which you live as well. So you live in Colorado, but you're going to a school in Missouri. I'm just making some stuff up. Your permit would have to be out of the state in which you live prior to even going to that school. So if you're like, I can't keep all this straight, we'll walk you through all of it. Well, we have a great program coordinator that works with these schools hand in hand, that knows kind of how everything works. And we wouldn't even set you up with a school that you wouldn't be eligible for, or didn't have lodging or whatever it might be. We would make sure to get you in the correct program that works great for you. And don't be afraid if at any point in time during the process you say, this might not be the fit or the right thing for me. Let us know before we get you into the program and get school started and things like that, because we can easily find a different route or something else that fits your needs too. Because we have some people that, hey, I just can't be out of a paycheck that long. I have to continue working at my current job. There's other options that we have as well too.
Definitely.
So let's answer some questions. Faisal asks, if I can't get a hazmat endorsement, can I do intermodal with Schneider? So great question. So our intermodal division does look asks that you have your hazmat endorsement within usually about 60 days of coming on board with us. Reason being is our intermodal division does haul a lot of different loads that are considered to be hazardous loads. And the nice part about hauling those loads is you get additional premiums for those loads to haul. So we do ask that you get that within 60 days. If you can't, we might refer you to a different line of business that doesn't necessarily require a hazmat endorsement. So great question on that as well. And then April, I'll let you take. Anthony asks, if I go to my local CDL school, can I work for Schneider? I assume that's where the question is.
And Anthony, the answer would be yes. As long as you have that Class A CDL, definitely can come aboard here at Schneider. That is the number one requirement, of course, is that if you're hiring directly to an account, you need that Class A license. Definitely go to schneiderjobs.com. You're prompted to put in your home zip code. And then from there, all of the positions that are available in your area will populate. And then you can kind of look if you're, man, home time is really important. You can search by home time. You can search by the amount of experience that you have. And if you did recently graduate, then we could do the original tuition, traditional tuition reimbursement that we could pay school back for you. So yeah, definitely, come apply. We would love to have you.
Absolutely. And I kind of want to piggyback off of, so earlier we talked about tuition reimbursement. So Anthony, that you can definitely apply for that if that's how you paid for schooling, either out of your own pocket or with the lender. Other ways too, if you want to really go to a school in your area on your own, other ways to get CDLs are, we have a whole list on our website, and underneath the inexperienced drivers, it's called Find a Truck Driving School or How to Pay for a Truck Driving School. Both are listed there on Schneider Jobs. We also offer, or if you are a former military veteran and have post 9/11 GI Bill benefits to your name, you can use those to pay for your school. We now actually reimburse for that as well. We didn't in the past, but now reimburse that as well. Same $200 payments a month as is the original tuition reimbursement. So that's offered, as well as any sort of like financial aid, I'm reading the questions that come in. I just mentioned the GI Bill. Michael is saying, if I have GI Bill benefits available and want to do the apprenticeship program, how would that work together? So with the apprenticeship program, with us basically paying for your CDL, you don't need to use the benefits to go to truck driving school, right? Those are there that you don't have to use them to pay for any sort of schooling. What we do have, if you have those benefits and you have no other use for them, you're not going to pass them off to somebody, you're not going to use them for any other additional schooling, we do have what's called the Military Apprenticeship Program. Not to be confused with the CDL apprenticeship program. A lot of people hear that apprenticeship and think it's the same thing. So the Military Apprenticeship Program, if you don't have GI Bill benefits left, you're not going to use them, not going to pass them on, we have you enroll, basically fill out a quick questionnaire prior to you coming on board to the orientation, that your information gets sent to the VA, which is processed. And then basically you get that housing allowance, or that BAH is called. If you're in the military, kind of know all these terms. Basically those benefits get paid back out to you, up to an extra $1,400 a month on top of any on-the-job earnings you may already have. Which I've actually had military candidates use, the tuition reimbursement they paid for schooling with their GI Bill benefits. So you get the tuition reimbursement for what you ever used for school, and then whatever is left over, enroll in the military apprenticeship program, which is pretty neat. So a lot of extra on top of anything you make on the job, extra payments as well too. So hopefully it wasn't too confusing, but there's a difference between military apprenticeship, and which is just basically getting those benefits paid back to you. CDL apprenticeship is helping you get your Class A CDL, which anybody can apply for. You don't have to be former military. So makes sense, everybody? Well,
and I think the biggest call out too, to kind of go off of what Courtney's saying right now, is it does get confusing. We do have many different programs. Every program is a little bit different than the next. So don't be afraid to give us a call and just say, hey, I just saw these two women on your live talking about all these things, and what would I apply for, and what works for me? Like, don't be afraid to give us a call. There is no dumb questions. That is what we're here for. If you're looking to get your Class A and you have that permit, or you don't have that permit and you are just kind of stuck and not sure what the next step is, we are more than happy to help you with that process. So, what are you even eligible for, depending on where you live, is a big question that Courtney and I can't answer today because we don't know where all of you are from. But, if you call into a recruiter, in 2 to 3 seconds, you're going to have a whole bunch of, answers specific to you. So please do not be afraid to call in, or go to SchneiderJobs.com, and so much of this information is going to be on there to help you kind of start your own journey to get that Class A license.
Right, absolutely. So to kind of piggyback off that, Damien just asked, I have my Class B permit and it expired, but want to get my Class A. I put in my application with Schneider, but haven't heard anything yet. What do I need to get besides my Class A permit? So to piggyback off that, Damien, call us, 844-PRIDE. So that we can chat with you a little bit about different programs in your area. because you might be eligible for our company's sponsored training that doesn't require a Class A permit. You know what I mean? Or, there could be a couple other programs in your area that might fit you a little bit better. So if you already put in that application, you haven't heard back yet, call us right away, 844-PRIDE, because we usually try to get to those applications within 24 hours of you. But if you haven't heard, just call us. We'll definitely help you out. So great question. We're going to answer a couple more. We are live talking about different ways to get your Class A CDL. Lots of different ways that we've gone through, whether we are sponsoring you or you're getting it on your own. Andy says, I have my Class A, just want to know what orientation is like. Great question. So Andy, everything kind of depends on how much experience do you have, because experience will dictate how long your actual program or your orientation is. And B, depending on what type of account you're going on, will dictate then where you go and what it kind of looks like. So if you're new to training, it can be anywhere from 19 days or more. If you have experience, it can be as short as 4 days. But it all can kind of depend on what type of account you're going on and how much experience you have. So good question. All right. Let's, like I said, keep asking questions. Those are great. April, if they're looking to go to a truck driving school near their home but don't know where to start, where would they go?
And they don't know where to start, I would say, well, first of all, you got to pick out that truck driving school, get that kind of finalized if you are going on your own. But then definitely I've had drivers that they have their school picked out. They have not yet started, but want to get pre-qualified with us. Definitely, once again, going to schneiderjobs.com, putting in that application. That way you are pre-qualified, that throughout truck driving school exactly where you're going to go. You can pick out your account and know what your pay is going to be. So that's, definitely the first step is starting that process.
Mm-hmm, absolutely. And another thing we were talking earlier about tuition reimbursement, military benefits, financial aid. There's also a lot of people I don't think know about the WIOA, which is the Workforce Innovation Opportunities Act. A lot of states have this to help those that are may have just been recently unemployed or, just need a little additional help applying for grants to go to a school. You can apply to this usually at your local job center. I say that out loud because I don't think a lot of people know about it. You know what I mean? That it's not talked about very often. It's another opportunity that we have, or not we necessarily, but your state can have that can help you get that truck driving school paid for, essentially. A little bit closer and nearby to your home than maybe say one of our programs might take you away from home, away from family for longer than you may potentially like. So other thing to check out as well too. I'm going to dive on in, unless April, you want to talk real quick, but I'm going to dive into our newer program, which is enhanced tuition reimbursement.
That's all you, because you
That's all
I do. So take it away.
All right. So new to us is a program called Enhanced Tuition Reimbursement. So you've heard us talk about tuition reimbursement quite a bit. It's very, very common. We basically pay you back for going to truck driving school. Enhanced tuition reimbursement basically is Schneider works with a resource center, a driver resource center, to basically help you not only find a school, but get your tuition paid back to you a little bit quicker. So think of enhanced as it's getting paid back a little bit quicker. You do have to basically pay your tuition up front. So whether it's with that loan or out of your own pocket, you do have to pay it up front. And then Schneider will pay a part of that tuition back after you start school. So you get a little bit of paid back basically before you even go to our orientation. So so a certain amount after you complete that first week of truck driving school, and then the second payment comes once you get hired on. So, and then if there's any additional that needs to get paid back to you, that's when we start, after you come on board, the $200 payments a month. So long story short, you're getting paid a little bit more back to you up front, not only after you start truck driving school, but once you get hired on, before you even see that $200 or $400 payments a month paid back to you. So it's another option and opportunity we have that we can help you get enrolled in a school. And then you just have to pay that tuition, but then we help pay it back to you a little bit faster and quicker. So it's also listed on Schneider Jobs underneath the apprenticeship program that we have and the company sponsored, listed in those filters as well. So if you think, hey, that might be a thing I want to, do, I have, this lender set up to pay for my truck driving school or whatever it might be, but I just, $200 a month isn't fast enough for me. We have that option as well too. You just click on the filter on the left-hand side when you type in your zip code. So hopefully that makes sense. If you have questions, again, call. It's just a nicer, easier, quicker way to get that tuition paid back to you faster.
100%. And wanted to make sure, for anybody that's tuning in a little bit later today, we are live right now. So if you do have any questions, comments, please put them on here. We will answer as many as possible. And what we don't get to, we certainly will answer afterwards. One other thing that I definitely wanted to bring up today is talking a little bit about endorsement. So when you're going through that Class A process, you have the permit, and all of a sudden you're going to kind of hear, oh, are you getting any endorsement? So a question that I get asked a lot, and I'm sure you do as well, Courtney, is which ones should I get? Should I bother getting any? Does the company help? So I'll give you my little spiel on this.
Yeah.
Certainly does not hurt to get your endorsements. If anything, it's only going to help you long term because so many more opportunities are going to be opened up to you because you can go into different lines of work if you have those endorsements already in hand. And if you're going through getting the permit and the Class A license, in my opinion, might as well just get everything in once.
Let's do it. Yep.
Be done with it.
Yep.
So the main three endorsements, of course, are going to be your doubles and triples, your tanker, and your hazmat.
Mm-hmm.
Now, do not reimburse back for tanker or doubles or triples. For hazmat, depending on the account that you are hiring onto, we do offer a reimbursement program. So definitely ask your recruiter about that. Hey, is hazmat something you'll reimburse me back for? Because it very well could be. With that, you just have to save those receipts and then turn those in, and then we can reimburse you back.
Right.
As far as which one is the longest or hardest to get, it's definitely going to be that hazmat endorsement. There is a criminal background check. There is fingerprinting. We do have this awesome program here at Schneider. It's an online course to help you prepare to take the exam for hazmat. So even if, say, darn, I'm not getting reimbursed back for the hazmat because of the account I'm going to use, anybody in the company still has that access to help studying and preparing for the exam. So test taking is not everybody's forte. So having this to kind of help you along the way is very, very valuable. So once again, ask your manager about, or, even in orientation, ask about that as well, because it is something that we offer. So just wanted to put a plug out there for those endorsements because it's a hot topic and a big question.
Absolutely, absolutely, and I couldn't agree more. And that program that you mentioned with the online training is self-paced, so it's not like I have to do it at this certain time at this certain day during my training. And we found it to be super successful. Those that go and do that training usually pass the hazmat exam on the first go around. So don't be afraid to ask questions regarding it because it's proven to be very successful. Yeah, and I always say if you're thinking about it, just go get it. Just go and do it. And mixed with all those endorsements as well too is the TWIC card or the Transportation Worker Identification Card. Allows you to haul freight in and out of ports throughout the country, things like that. Around the same timeline as like a hazmat endorsement, they also do background checks as well too. So you're thinking of potentially hauling, liquid freight, that could be something that you have as well too. A lot of these you don't necessarily need to start orientation. So if you're like, well, I gotta wait until I get all of them and then go to orientation, not necessarily the case. The only thing that's usually required on day one is if you're going to a tanker account, your tanker endorsement. So definitely just ask, hey, do I need it? Do I not to start? Majority of the time, it's probably no. So
And another thing to consider as well, once again, not a requirement for many positions here, but working in, if you want to kind of get everything in the toolbox, is the other thing is a passport. We do have some accounts that do some border crossing. So, on some accounts, you may see the passport opens up more opportunities. Certainly does on certain accounts, because you can get more miles potentially if you have, the passport or the hazmat that you can take more loads. So, something else just to consider, certainly not a requirement by any means, but mentioning that as well.
Yeah, absolutely. Good. More questions are coming in. Tim asking, I've had my CDL for about 1.5 years, but inexperienced or no experience. So through orientation, if a person feels they need longer training, is that okay? So I'll start with that question first. So Tim, absolutely. So inexperienced training. So even if you've had it 1.5 years, just haven't used it, you would attend our inexperienced training, which depending on your line of business, 19 days or more. Part of those 19 days or more is with the trainer. And if we feel as though, hey, you might need a couple extra days, or you feel, hey, I might need a couple extra days, we definitely can give that to you. Usually by the end of that time, a majority of our students are like, all right, I'm ready. Let's go. I want to go out and drive it by myself, because we've gone through it so many different times. So, but if you feel as though you need it, totally okay. We can give you that additional training as well. Other question Tim asks, how many older people are in their 60s do you get into our driving courses? I'm 62, a little afraid because of my age, ? So I'm going to say, Tim, ages should not be a factor. We have drivers of every age you can imagine. Being that we are in 2021, I'm having my first drivers that were born in the year 2000 and others that are in their late 60s. We got some, all ages. I don't feel as though that should deter you. It is hard work, but hard work that will pay off. So if you're open-minded, ready to communicate, ready to work hard, you will do well. We really don't find, hey, certain people of certain ages do better, because that's just not the case usually. It's usually about mental attitude and the willingness to work. So if you have those, we'd love to have you on board. So fill and apply, Tim. All right, and I'll let you take a little bit the next one.
Yeah, sounds good. So we have Enrique ask, and the question is about employment history. I hear you ask for 3 years of verifiable years. I just got my legal presence last year, and I just got my Class A CDL this week. Congratulations. I'm planning to get my hazmat this week. What happens if I don't have 3 verifiable years? Will Schneider still hire me? As long as you have your Class A valid license and you meet all of our qualifications when we do the the interview itself, you're definitely able to come aboard. Some accounts may require 3 months of Class A experience, but other than that, we have a lot of accounts here at Schneider that require 0 experience. So Enrique, as long as you have that valid Class A license, definitely give us a call and we can see what's available in your area.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Yeah. Any follow-up question was asking about that course we asked for, the hazmat exam. That course is accessible once you're in our training and orientation. So those that aren't working yet for us, unfortunately, don't have access to that. But if you already have your appointment for the test next week, go for it, go grid it. That way you already have that hazmat endorsement once you're coming on board. So
definitely. And another question we had here from Andy, what is a starting pay for a driver with no experience? Great question, kind of a loaded question, to be honest, because every single account is going to pay differently. We, of course, do pay based off Class A experience here at Schneider. But if you have, even coming in with 0 experience, every single account has a different pay package. Starting out in a tanker position versus a van truckload position, your cents per mile, the accessorial pay, there's just so many things that are different. So definitely just go to schneiderjobs.com, look at what's available and then give us a call and we can go through that, in way more detail on the phone with the particular accounts that you're interested in.
Right, absolutely. Denise asking if we train for either getting your CDL or to once you have it and you're in orientation. If you're new to tractor trailer driving, yeah, you will have some form of over the road training as well. So lots of different things all over the country, lots of training, because we're not going to have you get into a truck feeling unprepared by yourself for the first time. So yes, lots and lots of training will be in your future, whether you have experience or you don't. You know what I mean? If you are an experienced driver, you won't have as much, some, if not any, over the road training with a trainer. It just kind of depends on which account you have. So definitely feel free to ask your recruiter when you apply. It's a good question. All right, we had a lot of good questions. April, anything else you can think of, or in terms of getting your Class A CDL? I feel like we hit a lot of stuff.
Yeah, I think we went through all of our talking points. I'm looking through the list right now here, and the questions today were fantastic. So even though we're kind of starting to wrap things up, if there, anybody watching this, even though we're not live in a couple of days from now, put those questions below. We definitely can still answer those for you. Like I kind of said when we had kicked off the video, now is really a phenomenal time if you're looking for a change in careers to consider getting that Class A. And even if money is tight for you personally, we have so many different programs here at Schneider right now that, definitely something should fit for, what you're looking for. Do you want to go to school on your own and then have us reimburse you back? Do you want to go to apprenticeship program where we literally, you're trained from us from the get-go? It's whatever is going to be financially and with your family situation and personal situation, the best fit for you. But definitely we have a lot of great programs right now to hopefully fit every single type of need out there. So don't be afraid to give us a call. The programs can get a little overwhelming because they all are, there's a lot of information. Some things are similar, some things are not.
Yeah.
So go to schneiderjobs.com or give us a call. Would be more than happy to help you out starting with this new Class A experience if you're, a newbie to the industry.
Absolutely. Absolutely. So great questions. If you, like April said, continue to ask those. Call our number 844-PRIDE is the number to give us a call and talk to one of our recruiting specialists in our screening center. You can text as well too. Text chat to 28,000. We can have somebody help you out as well too. April is a part of our, we even talk about our transfer team. And so just a quick plug, because you guys do really great work. When we come on board to Schneider on a certain account and you just say, this isn't my cup of tea, I'd rather transfer into something different or new. April, amongst a variety of other recruiters, solely work with our operations team and your managers to transfer from one account to another. And our absolute rock stars working very hard to do all that as well too. So don't feel like trapped if you start on an account and it's just not the right fit for you. We want to find that for you, because the long term is hire to retire. That's what we're looking for. So you don't always knock it out of the park on the first try. So we're going to get that right job or fit for you no matter what. So great job. Continue asking questions. You need anything else, definitely give us a call. Good to see everyone again. So hopefully in the future it's in person here in the next couple of weeks. So we're going to look forward to doing it all again in the future, right?
Yeah, thanks everybody for viewing, and hope to see you guys soon, and have a great rest of your day.
Thanks, guys. Bye.